We should be live. Let's wait to make sure the stream catches up with us. But I'm hoping that me clicking go live ended up starting the show, Mike. So
that's typically what happens, but let's see. There's 2 people in there, but I got no video.
No video yet. It says I'm live down at the bottom. It says I'm 30 seconds in, so maybe we're on a delay.
Oh, yeah, there we are.
There we go. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the KellyCast. I am, of course, your host, your champion, and I don't need to say anything else, but I am the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dan Kelly.
It's 1 week, buddy, 1 week. And I'm ahead this week starting.
Shut up.
You went with my gut. My gut was wrong, so.
What did you eat that night? This is, of course, Mike. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. We are 2 cousins who focus on 2 different aspects of the game of football, which makes it very fun. We're a very oddball couple, I think. And our ladies are upstairs.
We would have called the show The Odd Couple, but that was already taken some odd years ago.
We're excited to talk football with you, excited to bring it to you live, excited to be here on a Saturday night. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
My new police simulator, very boring, by the way. Do not recommend.
Already after one playthrough?
It's like a real police game. It's like a real police officer's life, only,
All right. Well, whoever's here in the chat, please let us know who you are and why you're here, because we're very interested to see. Of course, if you want to join our predictions.
Hopefully it's to see us, Dan.
Hopefully, yeah. Feel free to join in our predictions as well. But we are going to get right in to week 13 of the NFL season. Of course, right now, Mike, you are up 1-0 with the Cowboys and Seahawks game. How about that game, man? What'd you think? I know you watched it.
Ooh, it was like a flashback of the Buffalo Bills game, man. It was very close at times. Geno Smith, kept it. So my gut was almost not wrong, Dan. It was almost not wrong.
Almost.
It was a nail biter. It was exciting.
Well, we have the KellyCast crew with your dad and one of my buddies.
Yep.
And Aaron sent me his picks, and he also picked the Cowboys. So you're tied with Aaron right now. I don't know if your dad sent in the picks or not. We'll get to that off camera. But we're starting off this week in the AFC South, one of the more surprising divisions in football this year with Houston and Jacksonville. But neither of these teams are Houston or Jacksonville, Mike. This is Colts at Titans, 6-5 versus 4-7. Right now, the Colts have a playoff spot. Are you surprised hearing that in 2023 right now?
Yeah, without their stud rookie quarterback, right? Richardson out for the rest of the season. So Uncle Rico's been in for a while.
Gardner Minshew, yep. But Mike, I planned for this show a little bit today.
Okay.
In the sense that I have the injury reports for every game. So I know who's out. I know who's in. It's going to help us, I think, in terms of making a selection better with knowing who's playing and who's not. So let's start with the Indianapolis Colts cornerback Julius Brents is out, and Jonathan Taylor is out with a thumb injury. So that's going to affect the offense. But hey, I mean, we saw what Zach Moss could do when JT was out to start the year due to that.
And I was going to say, and plus he missed like the first half anyways, once he played like 3 games. So
yeah, but he's been turning it on recently. The Titans, meanwhile, have nobody that is out, but a laundry list of players on this injury list. Traylon Burks with a concussion, Will Levis dealing with an ankle, Derrick Henry with rest. So it looks like the Titans are pretty healthy compared to the Colts. Again, divisional games, always close. What is your gut telling you?
Healthy and old. Which is clearly showing in their record, 4-7. My gut's saying that I'm going to go with the consensus on this one, which is barely a consensus, and I'm going to go with the Colts on this one.
Why?
I just got that gut feeling, man. Uncle Rico has been pretty halfway decent. I mean, he's not been god awful. I just think the Colts are going to win.
We need the Colts to lose more than anything. I think if one of those wild card teams is going to slip up, it's going to be the Colts. And I think that they're going to lose this matchup to the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are the home team in this matchup, and I think this is a toss-up kind of game. I don't like that I'm seeing 29th in offense, I'll tell you that, but I'm going to stick with it. I need Tennessee to win. I'm going to try to put it out into the atmosphere.
Put some good juju out there for us.
I don't like that word ever since Juju came into the league. So we're starting off on opposite feet here, just like we did on Thursday. That one went your way. Let's hope this one goes my way. I do have Aaron's predictions. We'll get to them at the end of the show because it's going to be too much for me to bounce back and forth. Interesting start here on the KellyCast, but let's move on to the next game, which is the Falcons and Jets. Atlanta Falcons at New York Jets. How about we start with talking about Aaron Rodgers coming back from a torn Achilles after, I believe, 71 days. He is practicing again with the New York Jets.
And last week I said, let's bring him out in a wheelchair if we have to. And he said, I don't know about that. They haven't been losing. And I think they've been losing. Had Zach Wilson been able to bring them to a more reasonable record, then yeah, bring them out. So I think you convinced me on why. Just why at this point in the game. Your season's over.
It's because he wants to prove everybody wrong. Who do we got here? Chris. How's it going? Love the Color Rush Taylor jersey. Hey, thanks, Mike, Chris. Talk about it.
Oh, man. Listen, so that thing is a unicorn, all right, that I have been collecting for this past year since January. And that thing is a complete unicorn. Anytime you can find one on the open market, they go for like $2,000, $1,000. Absolutely ridiculous. I absolutely dumb luck came across that from a framing company. I cannot remember the name of it right now.
Also, a game issue jersey. That's not just a regular Tyrod Taylor.
A team issue jersey. I asked where they got it from. They said they work with the team and framed jerseys for players, and also the NFL. And then sometimes they send some surplus over their way. And that was one of their surplus items that I got for a ridiculous price. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Compared to what I should have paid for it.
I
won't say it on air because my wife will beat me for it. But
I know you wanted to talk about that, so I had to give you your time there.
That's the whole reason why we sat this direction.
Exactly, showing off the new set. Falcons and Jets, an interesting matchup. Can you believe the Falcons are leading their division right now, Mike?
No, what is it? It's another situation where there's like winless teams. What year was that? There's like basically a whole division of winless teams.
It was the same division, the NFC South.
Okay, it's always the NFC
Atlanta
South.
Falcons, Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If the Bills were in this division, they'd be in first place. But the interesting thing to me, Mike, there's no Falcons on the injury report at all. It's all New York Jets. So let's take a look. Israel Abanaconda, the running back, is questionable. Not going to matter too much. Breece Hall, also questionable with a hamstring. I would expect him to play. Wes Schweitzer, I believe he's the starting guard, questionable, but he went full practice in the last day. And Dalvin Cook with a shoulder injury, questionable, limited practice. So that tells you all you need to know about the New York Jets. I will say, if they're getting Aaron Rodgers back and they know like he's coming back within these next couple of weeks, you would expect them to play inspired football, right? You would expect them to be like, hey, Aaron, we know how hard you've worked. We're going to show you that we can work as hard, right?
Sure, you would think that.
But is that going to happen? Is it going to happen? Taylor Heineke-led Falcons, I don't know where I'm going to go in this matchup just yet.
It's another one of those low-level nail-biter. A shootout for who can get the most field goals, I feel like.
Like the Vikings-Bears game?
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad game to watch. I probably fall asleep game on. But nonetheless, in every statistical category, the Falcons are better. And
I'm very surprised.
Again, who did you introduce yourself as a quarterback? I don't even remember who the quarterback was.
Taylor Heineke.
Heineke.
I'm sorry, I love that. I'm very surprised, Mike, that the Falcons have a technical better defense on paper than the New York Jets. That surprises me because in my head, the Jets are a top 5 defense, but according to rankings,
it's barely
they're 12th.
12th over 11th. The 11th and 12th ranked defense it's barely by a hair. So that's why.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna go. Every time I've picked the Falcons this year, they've gotten destroyed. So I think I want to go the Jets this week.
Okay.
And they're probably gonna lose, but
I'm taking the Falcons. Reason being, I told myself when you were talking that I was going to take the opposite. So if you would have picked the Falcons, I would have picked the Jets. You know, I think it's one of those coin flip games
at the KellyCast.
Oh yeah. Hopefully it's not this way all the way around. I don't think it will be. Moving on to a very fun matchup, I think. Lions and Saints. New Orleans Saints hosting. How about Detroit, man? Dude, you can't do that. I mean, you were 8-2. Excuse me, going into last week. And to lose on Thanksgiving is exactly what you guys have always done. But I didn't think it was going to happen. Even when the Packers were up 2 possessions, I still thought, hey, this is the Detroit Lions of 2023. They're going to come back. They
got a chance.
And they just kept giving the ball away and making their opportunities minuscule. I was disappointed with the way the Lions played last week.
Yeah, I was very disappointed, and not only because it helped fuel my loss of that championship belt, but just now's not the time to take a break, Detroit. Now's not the time to take a break, and it feels like it's collapsing as it does every year on them.
Well, hopefully not. I think the NFL is a very fun league when Detroit is winning, because how often can you say that? How often can you say Detroit football is interesting and they're winning games? It's very rare, but I do have the injury report up. Hendon Hooker, quarterback, backup, he's out. Alex Anzalone, the middle linebacker, has a hand injury. He is doubtful. And Jonah Jackson, the offensive guard, is questionable. Meanwhile, for the Saints, you have starting safety Marcus May, who is out with a shoulder injury. Kendre Miller, running back, is out with an ankle. Rashid Shaheed is out with a thigh. That's huge. Pete Werner is out with a shoulder and oblique. That's a lot of injuries for an already bad team. 5-6, mediocre New Orleans Saints football team.
It is. And you know what? I was listening to somebody, and I remember who on the radio last week about the Saints, and he said if they didn't win last week, he was not picking the Saints again. He's one of those.
Oh, he was you.
And,
you were just listening to yourself.
I feel like the same sentiment, man. Like, come on, Derek Carr has clearly proven himself to be very mediocre, and I'm eating my words, and I'm sure you're loving it.
No, I just think it's funny that you were listening to yourself and you're mentioning it on camera. But I'm going to take the Detroit Lions. I think this is a bounce back game for them. I think they need to play a clean brand of football. What you need to do in this matchup, you don't need to score 40 points. You need to have a clean game on offense. You know, limit the turnovers, get back to your brand of football, and I think that that's going to happen this week. And you're also taking the Lions, right? I know you went on a spiel there. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm taking the Lions.
I have a confirmation there.
I cannot stick by the inconsistent company.
Broncos and Texans. Now, if you told me this matchup would be interesting in September, I would have told you you're a liar. But how about the turnaround of the Denver Broncos?
I still don't want to talk about it. I'm still pretty sour about the Bills game.
I believe they're on a 5-game winning streak, if not 6. I think it might be 6 because they started 0-4.
I guess I might be eating my words on that guy too. I mean,
I told you about that enough. I told you about that enough.
I'm hoping they fall apart. I'm hoping CJ. They're still ranked 25th offense.
Yeah, but you know what you don't have on this list, Mike? You don't have turnovers forced by the defense, which is what the Denver Broncos have been doing more than any other team in football recently. And that's one of the reasons that they've been able to steal these games, because they beat Kansas City. They beat Buffalo. They didn't beat teams that are
They didn't get any slouches.
what was it? Who was I watching? I think he was talking about the Falcons, or maybe it was the Jets or something. He said they had like a negative. It had to be the Falcons, a negative 30-point differential, and they're in the playoffs. And the Bills have 100+ point differential, and they are not in the playoffs. That just tells you how freaking bullcrap point differential is. But I do have the injuries for us here. Tank Dell, questionable with a calf injury. He's going to go. I already know that. Sheldon Rankins with an elbow, also questionable. Looks like he's going to be a game-time decision. Dalton Schultz is out with a hamstring injury, the starting tight end for Houston. And for Denver, nobody is out. So they're coming in with a bill of health here. Was last week the week that, it was Houston and Jacksonville last week. And the only one who picked Jacksonville, I believe, was Aaron. And I thought Houston was going to do it, man. I really thought they were going to knock off the Jags.
I mean, they've been pretty hot. So and DJ's been
an MVP candidate.
all
year. I'm taking Houston. You know what, Denver? This is where your streak stops.
I was going to take Houston as well. I'm still not a fan. I'm still not a fan, and I don't care.
What if they go on a 14-game win streak? Will you be a fan then? If they win every game other than the 0-4 start.
No, I'll be like you, and I'll just be sour that I'm wrong.
I'm not sour. Excuse you. Excuse you. Let's move on to an AFC matchup between the Chargers and the Patriots. You want to talk about disappointing? These are the two teams that I would tell you to look up in the dictionary. 2-9, 4-7. The AFC has been a mess this year. It's supposed to be the best division in football, and it really doesn't look like that this year.
Not at all, and straight down to the Patrick Mahomes, the poster boy, being flexed out of a Monday night game, which obviously do. But
I told you about that. It makes sense.
I know you said it makes sense, but
it does.
It's still like that's the poster boy. That's pretty crazy, and it seems like maybe tides are turning, and it's the Eagles now.
Yeah,
that are the poster child.
Speaking of poster boys, Bill Belichick, the GM and the head coach of the New England Patriots. You know, you may be regarded as the best head coach of all time or the second best, depending on who you ask. Some people think that the only reason you have any credibility is because of Tom Brady. And I think that no matter how you feel about Belichick's tenure as the New England Patriots head coach, I think it's coming to an end this year. The end of this season, Bill Belichick is either going to be like, hey, we want you out, but we don't want to fire you. We want you to go kind of situation. Or he's just going to get fired and he's going to go to another team. One of the teams that's already interested in him is Carolina.
Yeah, Frank Reich's short tenure there.
He's the only head coach to be fired in back-to-back seasons ever.
Did not know that. That's a pretty interesting fact. But he's probably on the hot seat. I'm hoping he's on the hot seat because
at 2-9, I don't think there's.
I mean, like he said, the organization sold out for 6 championships and 10 appearances.
Yeah. I'm taking the Chargers, Mike. I think
all day long. The New England Patriots can't get out of their own way. They don't know who the quarterback is.
We would probably rather have the Patriots win as Bills fans in this matchup because you don't want the Chargers to start getting wins because Kansas City's going to win that division. That will put the Chargers in the wild card where the Bills are competing for because Miami's going to take the AFC East. So it would be helpful if the New England Patriots could get their head out of their ass and maybe steal one here, but I think it's going to be the Chargers victorious.
Yeah, all day. Like I said, the Patriots can't get out of their own way. I don't know how they're not 32nd in every single category.
Well, the defense is always semi-decent. Zach Bailey, offensive tackle for the Chargers, is out, as well as Nick Van Nett, the tight end, out with a concussion, and Jasir Taylor, cornerback, is out due to sickness. For the Patriots, it looks like Keyshawn Boutte is out, the wide receiver. Demario Douglas, the wide receiver, also out, and everybody else looks like they're questionable. Interesting to see who they go with quarterback this week. I remember you told me last week, I told you before the game started, hey, Belichick has not announced the starter, and you were like, oh, it's going to be Zappy. And Mac Jones came out and started the game. Was benched again, and Bailey Zappi came in. So where does that leave us? It leaves us in the exact same position we were last week.
Yeah, unknown and probably Zappy, and I'm probably wrong again.
Let's move on to a Super Bowl rematch. Way long ago, Arizona Cardinals and Pittsburgh Steelers is up next here. Pittsburgh is... I hate Pittsburgh. I already know you know that, but
I do.
They are the biggest frauds in the NFL to me.
Why is that?
Look at their record. Do you think the Steelers are that good? Do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers, in your head, when you see Kenny Pickett and you see that team, do you think, oh, that's a 7-4 football team?
But how does that make them frauds? They clearly won them. It doesn't matter. A win's a win. It doesn't matter how you win.
No, because a win is a win, yes. But when I say fraud, what I mean is you're not legitimate. So you may have a good season. You might go 12 and whatever. Get into the playoffs, your ass is getting stomped. 30 points on your dome. And what was it for, Mike? What was it for? Because when you win too many games as a team that is bad, you put yourself in a bad position moving forward.
For picks.
For young players, not just the first round, every round. Remember, the way it goes, if you're the worst team, you get the first pick in every round. That's important, especially if you're a team that needs help, if you're an aging team. I don't know about Pittsburgh. I don't believe in them at all. I don't care that they're 7-4. And I'm going to pick them this week because they're facing the Arizona Cardinals.
You don't want to pick your boy Murray?
I did it once and it worked. I'm not going to do it again. Not right now. He has to be playing like New England for me to do that.
And again, shockingly 23rd ranked defense, but I don't think the Cardinals have it against them. It could be a high scoring game, but
I could see the Cardinals taking this. I could see this being another coin toss. But I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I think it's the favorable matchup here.
Yeah, I think I've picked the Cardinals like once.
And it didn't work.
It didn't work out for me, so I don't think I'm going to pick them again either.
You're already off that train.
I'm already off that train. I never really was on that train. I went with them, last week?
And I flamed you for it.
That was one of the ones that cost me that weekly championship.
Yeah, the KellyCast Prediction Championship belongs to me. And it's probably going to go back to Mike after this week. We are moving on to a matchup that we're probably not going to talk about for long. That is Miami Dolphins and Washington Commanders. Do you remember the Tyreek Hill celebration when he did the backflip? He took the camera guy's phone, and the camera guy jumped up in the air to celebrate with him?
Yeah.
The NFL said, hey, you're not allowed to do that. This is the no fun league. You know what they said?
They suspended the guy's credentials for the resse of the season.
They said, take your ass home, kid.
They said, and Tyreek said, you know what, I got you, kid.
Paid his salary. Good for him.
But I did read that he is allowed to do other NFL functions and work with the personal players.
Okay.
He's just not allowed to attend the game.
Still, I saw...
is the whole best part of being a photographer.
I saw, it was Brandon Marshall, the former receiver, and Ocho Cinco, and they were talking about that, and they said, it's stupid. It's legitimately stupid because the second that happened, the NFL goes, oh, share it out to all of our socials, every single channel. That's the number one clip for the week, and oh yeah, you're suspended, even though you're the one who just helped us go viral.
Yeah, it's bananas. It's like, hey, I just made you a bunch of money, so I'm getting penalized for it.
Exactly.
What
exactly.
The hell?
Dolphins and Commanders, I like my Commanders, but in this matchup, I don't think they have a fighting chance.
Would you say we expected a lot better out of them this year?
The Commanders?
Yeah. Would you say you expected a lot better out of them?
Would I say that? I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I don't think I expected much out of the Washington Commanders.
I don't think I expected much either, but I think I expected at least a 500 team.
We would have to go through their schedule and look back at the teams they face. You know, they had to face us, and that was a tough task. I think they have one of the worst offensive lines in football based on how much Sam Howell gets sacked. By the way, he's leading the league in passing yards still. He's been doing it since, like, I want to say week 10 or week 8.
If they can get him
some help,
protection, they might
have their guy. So
more than a 500 team.
Yeah, I think Miami's going to win this, and I think I'm going to be very upset.
Agreed. I think Miami's going to win.
First in offense, second in passing, second in rushing. Gross.
Yeah, they still have not lost to a sub 500 team, and I don't expect them to lose. No, I don't expect it to happen this week either.
Yeah, they can beat those bad teams. They know how to do it. Miami knows how to beat those bad teams. The question is, are they for real? Are they?
Seemingly. I mean, I guess the real test will be next year.
Why next year?
When the Bills are back.
It has nothing to do with the Bills. The Dolphins are in contention for a Super Bowl.
Correct.
So why are we waiting till next year? I'm asking you if the Dolphins are legit.
If they're legit this year, they're clearly legit, 8-3, but they haven't beat anybody.
That's why they're not legit to me.
Really good, but their record says they are, and I don't think they'll go. Even when they go into the playoffs, I don't feel that they'll make it past the first round.
Really?
Let's see. Make it past
Let's see. Let's discuss this, because if the Dolphins finish, let's say 13 wins, let's say they're in the 3 spot. Let's say it goes Baltimore, Kansas City, Miami, right?
Sure.
If you're in the 3, you play the 5. Do you think Miami would lose to Indy? I don't think so.
No. I said they won't go past the first round.
They'll win in the first round. You're saying
the first round. I didn't say they'll lose in the first round. I said they won't go past.
Saying they won't go past the first round would mean they would lose in the first game of the playoffs. That's what that would mean.
Second round.
Okay. That's what I thought you had meant. Okay. So you're telling me,
and they could if it was the Colts, they could.
You're telling me if they faced a team like Kansas City, Miami, or Kansas City, Baltimore, they might have a little bit of trouble.
If they faced anybody that's halfway decent, they're gonna.
What did Chris say?
Remember last year when they went like 8-3 and ended up 10-7 or whatever?
Not legit.
Right.
We're haters, though. We're haters. Let's let it be known that we are haters of the Miami Dolphins.
Ever since I was a kid.
You're still a kid.
At heart.
Moving on to NFC South. Panthers, Buccaneers. We already mentioned Frank Reich got fired. We saw what happened in Carolina. Tampa Bay, I was thinking they were a good team, Mike. I was thinking they were a good team. Baker looked pretty good to start the year, but September Baker and December Baker are 2 different guys.
Clearly, they're 2 different guys. As the season progresses, he just falls apart, and I don't understand it. Like, maybe he's using too much energy. He's got a ton of energy on the sideline. Maybe he's using too much of it during the first half of the season.
For the injuries here, we have Von Bell out for the Panthers, safety. And then we also have Hayden Hurst, tight end, is in concussion protocol. He is also out for the Buccaneers. Levante David out. Mike Green, defensive tackle, out. Jamel Dean, cornerback, out. And then Devin White, the other linebacker, who is out. That hurts for Tampa Bay. I picked Carolina last week, and it almost had me not get a look at this title. I think they're going to win again, but I don't know that going into Tampa Bay is when you're going to do it. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just think there's too much star power over there. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they're still healthy. They're still going. I think they're going to beat the Panthers.
It's a tough one because you never know which Baker you're going to get. And unfortunately, this could be one of those trap games where Carolina takes it. And I'm torn on who to pick here. You know what? I'm gonna go Carolina just to go against you.
Okay.
Just to go against you.
That's fine. I think that might be the first time you've done it today, so it's okay. I mean,
First time I've gone against you. Yeah, you've done it.
I've gone against you a couple
against me,
times,
so.
which is the same thing, vice versa. Probably the game of the week is next year, Mike. 49ers and Eagles. Let's start with our feelings on the Eagles because obviously we talked about it a little bit in our live on Facebook. If you guys aren't following us on Facebook, that's at the KellyCast on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all those channels at the KellyCast. We talked about this a little bit. I don't have beef with the Eagles directly. I have beef with the officials because I think there was a lot of missed calls. And I think they're a good football team overall, but with the help from the officials, I mean,
I think they're a very good football team. They're very well coached. They've got a stellar offensive line.
Did you see that about the coach?
No.
So you know how the game ended in overtime. Mm-hmm. Crazy ending. There was so much going on the field that the coaches didn't get to meet on the field, and Sirianni went out of his way to go into the Bills locker room.
I did hear that,
and talk.
Act.
Yes,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I'm supposed to have a beef with the Eagles because being a Cowboys fan, but I don't. I really don't.
I can't tell you I have beef with the Eagles, like the team. I have beef with some of the players, like the one who took Josh Allen down by his horse collar, didn't get called, like the one who held Stephon Diggs. I believe that was who was that? It was crazy. Darius Slay. He came out on Twitter because people were attacking him for that play where he had Diggs' jersey like this.
Yeah.
And he tweeted it. He said, "This happens all the time. If it were to get called, I wouldn't have been mad." And I thought in my head, you say that on Twitter, Darius Slay, but if that ref throws the flag, the first thing you're going to do is, what? That wasn't me. Right? That's the first thing.
Do anything.
That's the first thing
he's doing what Josh Allen was doing. What the hell?
That's the first thing he's going to do. So anyway, let's get into this matchup. 8-3 versus 10-1 in Philadelphia. This is a NFC Championship preview. Most definitely.
1,000%. I feel like it's got to be these two. The way they've been playing is outstanding. I don't care that San Fran lost 3 in a row.
The fact that they're both well coached and so talented tells me that these two teams are not susceptible to trap games. They're too good. Like, the Bills have always been susceptible to trap games. Yeah. Kansas City Chiefs, usually not. They lost that one to Denver. But hey, Denver seems legit too. So, there are certain teams, and these two teams remind me of those kinds of juggernaut, offensive-minded guys who can just do it week in, week out. There's no excuses.
And
That's what I hate. That's what I hate as a Bills fan, Mike. There's no excuses from these teams. They lose. They might say the same thing as Sean McDermott, but they do things differently, and then they fix it, and then they win. God, I'm angry. Sorry.
And definitely, I mean, and this is one of those games that can go either way too. It could either be a slugfest, a high-scoring slugfest that everybody loves, or it could be a
defensive game.
Defense is so defensive that you're snoozing at it. In the seats, getting comfortable. But man, I want to let you pick first on this one. This is probably the toughest game of the week to pick.
Who's the referees for this game? Can I know that going into this?
I don't know if the NFL puts that.
Can I know the officiating crew, please?
I don't know if the NFL puts the reffing schedule out ahead of time. Eagles at home. They have not lost. Remember, I think they're 17-1.
18-1.
They're 18-1 now.
Last matchups, yeah.
So, I think they continue that, man. It's a home game. Them Philly fans are.
Let's take a look at the injury report, can we?
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that before we make our final decision here.
So, tight end Grant
How about you, Chris, while you're out there?
Tight end Grant Calcaterra. Hey, somebody else is here. We got 4 now. Who is in the chat? Is that Aaron? Because you told me you were going to watch. I haven't seen you yet. So I hope that's you. But we're going to go on here to the injury report for the Philadelphia Eagles San Francisco 49ers matchup. Grant Calcaterra is questionable. He was questionable last week. That's fine. Zach Cunningham, inside linebackers, out with a hamstring. Justin Evans out with a knee injury, it looks like, for the Eagles. And for the 49ers, nobody's out. Questionable all around.
Ooh.
So that tells me all I need to know. You took the Eagles, correct?
I backtracked for a second. I said let's wait. I said
Okay.
before we make our final decision, let's see
All right,
who's out.
I hit that fucking thing twice today now.
That's why you gotta move up.
Shut up, will ya? Will ya? I lean back. I'll kick us off here. I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers. And the reason I'm going to take the 49ers isn't because I expect them to win. It's because what I expect is this matchup's going to happen twice. And I think it's very hard to beat somebody twice. And I expect the Eagles to win the bigger game when it comes to either in the NFC Championship, in the NFC playoffs. So I'm going to take the 49ers for that reason. Also, we saw what the Bills' defensive line could do to the Eagles last week. Now change that to Chase Young and Nick Bosa. See what happens to Jalen Hurts.
The last time these guys played was like 2 or 3.
So they're not familiar with each other. 2021 was the last time they played. 49ers were on top.
So 2 years ago. Ooh, does the streak continue? I'm hoping so. I think they'll stand pat with the Eagles on this one. They will win that twice.
Okay. All right.
Or maybe our conspiracy theory will not ours. The conspiracy theory that's out on the internet will.
All right, I got to stand for a minute. My chest is bothering me a little bit here, so excuse me. We're going to move on to the Browns and Rams, Mike, and the most I have a note for you here because I think it's the most interesting stat I could find.
Okay.
The Cleveland Browns, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, quarterback for last week, has a concussion. He's out.
Joe Flacco starting.
Joe Flacco, who was on the Baltimore Ravens for the majority of his career, facing the Cleveland Browns. I believe he has the third best record of a player versus a team. That is versus the Cleveland Browns. You want to know what it is?
What is it?
18-3 in his career against the Cleveland Browns. And this week, he starts for them 7-4 versus 5-6. I think this matchup is a lot more interesting than what the records tell you because the Rams have been hot lately with Stafford coming back, and the Browns have the number 1 defense in football. As surprising as it may be, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns. I think that defense is just so freaking good that they're gonna stifle the Rams. And Flacco, I remember when he was on the Jets, he had some good performances when he had to come in. I believe he beat the Browns with the Jets a couple years ago. And
the Browns have been good with subpar quarterbacks. I mean, minus Deshaun Watson.
Oh, that guy's more than subpar.
I mean, they've been good with everybody but Deshaun Watson.
Everybody but. He's the new Butterface. Butter quarterback?
Butter play?
Butter quarterback?
Yeah, there is a better quarterback. Yeah, man, I kind of almost want to side with you on this one. And it's only for the sole fact that I'm a Flacco fan. I've always enjoyed Flacco. I was rooting for him to win that Super Bowl when he finally won it.
When he got it, yeah.
I thought he deserved it.
What a run that was!
I don't think that he was an elite quarterback like he thought he was. Like
Cinderella, Cinderella
exactly.
run. Remember that? I still remember the numbers. 19 touchdowns to 2 interceptions for Joe Flacco during that playoff run.
Wow.
And a Super Bowl victory to go along with it. Thanks. Was it Beyonce that knocked out the lights during the halftime show or whatever it was?
Was that the Falcons game where the lights went out, wasn't it?
No, Ravens 49ers Super Bowl whatever number.
Was it? Oh, okay.
The Harbaugh Bowl.
That's right.
Are you taking Cleveland? You coming along in the ride here?
Ooh, man,
This is another toss-up.
Yeah, it's another flip a coin one, and I think Flacco hasn't been there long enough, but it doesn't really matter. If I think veteran quarterbacks, I've said before,
They can pick up a playbook.
Pick up a playbook and just go, man. But Flacco, when's the last time Flacco's seen a start? I think
At least 2 years ago.
I think the Rams are going to take it.
Okay.
The Rams are going to take it.
That's fine. I think that makes sense. I need a couple of dark horse wins here to keep my belt, and this is one of the ones where
that might very well be. I mean, record-wise, they're definitely better.
Surprisingly, yeah. Moving on, Chiefs-Packers. Taking the Kansas City Chiefs. Green Bay, shout out to you for doing what you did to Detroit last week. If you can continue it, I'll love you forever. But as of this very moment, I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. Obviously, the last time we saw them, they were losing to the Eagles. Mm-hmm. And so Kansas City, really, I hope you lose. I hope you lose for the sake of us, for the sake of football fans everywhere, but I'm expecting a Chiefs victory on Sunday Night Football. This is the fucking prime time, bro. You are not going to beat Patrick Mahomes in prime. I don't care that you're home. I believe this is the first time he's playing in Lambeau.
Is it? Is it the first time ever?
I believe so.
Maybe he'll do the Lambeau leap when he
scores his sixth touchdown.
One of those touchdowns he scores. I just have a hard time going against the Chiefs. And you know what? They're broken too. The Chiefs are broken too.
They don't have a good wide receiver.
And
there's not a single good wide receiver.
They've had trouble against these bad teams as well. So I expect Green Bay to keep it close as well. But I think the Chiefs are going to.
I could see this one being a blowout. But hey, like I said, if Green Bay wants to make me wrong, I'm okay with that. Our final matchup is the Monday night game: Cincinnati Bengals, Jacksonville Jaguar.
Duval.
I hate both of these teams for different reasons.
I was gonna say I don't know why I've never had a problem with the Jaguars. Obviously, about the jersey, but
I have a problem with the Jaguars because of 2017 when we should have won that wild card game. But instead, we let Blake Bortles rush for 125 yards.
That's our fault, isn't it? That's not. I mean, come on.
We lost to them. We didn't lose to anybody else.
We lost.
Yeah. I don't hate. Okay, I think hate's a strong word. Let's change it. I dislike both of these teams.
I was going to say the Bengals helped us get to the playoffs.
That's true, and I'll always love Andy Dalton, and I'll always like Tyler Boyd for that. But I can hate the Bengals right now because we still haven't beaten them. 0-2 record versus the Bengals during the Joe Burrow era. I think this is a Jacksonville game, easy. Head coach Zach Taylor wanted to say that the season wasn't over when Burrow went down, and I think that's a bunch of baloney. So I'm taking Jacksonville.
I 1,000% agree, because if it wasn't a bunch of baloney, would you think they would have played him hurt the first 4 games of the season? I mean,
very good point, Mike. Very good point.
I mean, Jacksonville. I'm picking Jacksonville all day long. They've been. I said it during the Bills game. They're coming. They lost. I think the week after I said this, but they're on at the right time. So,
another Super Bowl contender here in the AFC. But that's all we have for you today, guys. We hope you enjoyed. If you're watching this after the fact, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Again, we are on all social media platforms at the KellyCast. No Bills football this week. My girlfriend asked how it felt. I said, I'm actually pretty happy. I'm pretty happy to not watch a Bills game this week.
We need to recoup.
Pretty excited. Next week, we will not be bringing you pregame on the day of, but I wanted to discuss this with Mike. We're going to discuss it on camera, I guess. I was thinking maybe same thing, kind of like this, but for the Bills Chiefs preview, maybe like Saturday night, go on, talk some football, half hour maybe, since I'm not going to be here. The last time I left to watch a game, we won. So that's what I'm thinking might work here, Mike.
Yeah, maybe you just need to leave the house for all the game.
No, that's not happening. But again, guys,
the last time you watched it with your cousin, which is where you're going, we also lost. So,
but this is a new house. This is a new house. All right, guys. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next time. As always, we leave you with a Go Bills.
go Bills.
Is the year over?